I am going to make this short. My whole thing right now is just to say thank you. There's a lot of people to say thank you to, but it's really, you look around. You know, we talked about the greats. I mean, people that did this, but what about the little guys? I mean, Ben really did it for us. I mean, really, if you look at Steve Butler, it just, and the coaches we had, I mean, Stanley, Mo, and Rick, I mean, it just, I mean, there's just so much with this the whole coaching staff, but it really was the teachers, the student body, everything at that time. I don't know what it was. It was something in the water and that we were drinking here, but that Kool-Aid went a long ways. And when I was little, I went to Our Lady Grace. My brother and I, who couldn't make it tonight, he was a captain team with Keith, and he just, we looked out the chain link fence and we just saw Crespi. And that was, I mean, we saw these guys with Lenny Schufo and Pat Hill, and I mean, just these greats. When you're small, you're looking up over the fence and just saying, this is unbelievable. So, but what came before us was long before. And my sisters had been to Corvallis, and they went to, my oldest sister went to school with John Becker and at Corvallis with Kathy. Then my other sister was in the first class at Harry, and then it goes, and then my other sister dated Jim Lowell, and then, you know, so I was growing up, I was going to Crespi, so there was no doubt about it. But if you look back at the whole thing in the history of it, it's just, and it's an incredible story, and I think it should be told, and this tradition's got to be passed on. And what our coaches did for us, it wasn't just on the football field, it just how it did it for us for the rest of our life, and it's going to be passed on to our kids in the next generation and the next generation. But as far as thanking, I wanted to thank, you know, first of all, Crespi. I don't want to forget anybody. I want to say thanks for Ken Forsch for setting this up, through Dave DiTomaso for getting this done. It's the mafia. I don't know what it is, but we always get it done if you ask him. And you know, Dave Shepard for doing the unbelievable emceeing this. Joe Wilby for putting all this stuff together. You know, he didn't have to do it, he just did it, and he always does it. And Johnny Obringer, Billy Snaders, Justin Ibarra, I mean, really the whole Crespi staff, Brian Bennett, were so cordial in putting everything together on this whole event. And it wasn't if we had to do, I mean, you know, were we going to do it? It was going to be, we were going to do this. And Nancy put together an unbelievable ceremony for Steve and Redondo Beach and Hermosa, and it was a beautiful. I wasn't able to make it. It kind of happened fast, but it was more for the crowd down there. And John brought up the idea, we got to do the last hug, and it just kind of exploded. Then we just said, well, how are we going to get a hold of these people? Who's going to come? And then it just sent out this whole kind of pigeons were going out. You know, it was just bizarre how this whole thing just kind of, and we kept on saying, we don't know how many people we're going to get. And so, also I'd like to, before I forget, is my lovely wife, Mary, back there, who really, I just walked home tonight if I didn't do something like that. So, you know, she did, you know, if anybody makes me look good, that's it. You know, so, but again, I'd like to thank John Sullivan. He really put this thing into motion. It was his guidance. He's in Idaho. I'm in Orange County. We're trying to get this done. But John is a persistent person, very, very generous. He kind of flew Father Peter out. He got this going. He got this going. I was like a soldier. But he wasn't ordering me. It was an honor and a privilege to really do this. And I think, you know, as far as Steve goes, I got to know Steve, you know, through Nancy, through coaching and everything, and Mo and everything. And then I later went on to coach with Steve after my career at Washington, and Steve hired me to come coach with him at Valley. But I got to know really everybody with you know, through Rick Narandra. I know you moved up to, you know, into the Mammoth area, and you did a great job coaching up there. Harry became my coach my senior year, and I would have been anything. I would have probably been playing middle linebacker at the time. But also Harry, on a side note, he talked about Randy being inducted to the Hall of Fame. for the CIF. He's being inducted in October right now. Really, all the coaches became family when I went on to coach with Harry Willich, Pat. I mean, Paul Pasno can't be here. He's sick about not coming, I know. We talked about, but all those great coaches. I had the pleasure and privilege to be not only coach with them, but become, you know, family, I guess it was. But there was, you know, Nancy, what I wanted to do was on the side is just to thank Nancy for everything that she's done or did for Steve. You know, I know it was a tough few years here, but everybody knows what a saint she is and was. And I just, you know, on that side, I know there's certain people that couldn't make it today, and there's full understanding on that. But I think what Coach would really love is we see all these players and coaches and everything, is to reconnect us. So there's people here, so at the end of the night, get somebody's, you know, number, get their, you know, get together. I mean, time's too short, and I think it's time for everybody. What we'll try to do is, if you could, just make sure if you could send us back your email or your information, so we can send you back the pictures, and then if you could send us your telephone number too. So why not keep the Crespi tradition going? And I think as far as what we talked about, what I just briefly said before, was what Steve gave to, you know, me, and, you know, it was the little guy, the 150-pound guy. It gave them dedication, you know, commitment, and I mean, it just goes on and on. It defines them as a person, and what you do is you pass that on to the next generation, and then you have Steve Butlers. It's, you know, all of a sudden you get a person like Steve Butler that, you know, you take into your life and you pass that on. So again, I just want to say thank you for everything that Nancy and for Steve did for Crespi, and for, you know, not only the school for what he did at UCLA and everything else, but it was the man he was, and just not the player or everything. And you know, out of this whole thing, we really never talk about plays or anything. We get together with Crespi, and you don't talk about plays, what play you made, what play you did, and whatever it was. It was about how you doing, how's your family doing, you know what's. So I think that's what Steve would like. He's looking down at us right now, and he's smiling down on us with Lenny Schufel and Mike Keeler, Steve Boron, and the rest of them. They're having a nice beer or margarita right now, and they're just they're really enjoying it. So I just want to say thank you to Nancy and to the school and to the Crespi tradition that we carry on into the next generation. And really, that's it. And it was a pleasure. Thank you.